Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Kira Kotler, and I am both a breast cancer thriver as well as the founder of EverViolet, and I'm going to be your moderator today. Just a little bit about EverViolet. It is a lingerie and loungewear collection that nurtures changes in a woman's body following treatment for breast cancer, and it came out of my own personal experience after a double mastectomy. And because I understand firsthand so many of the changes that we face during and after breast cancer diagnoses, the subject of today's session is one that is so near and dear to my heart. So I'm really happy to have you all here. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. A reminder that the website for the Young Survival Coalition is youngsurvival.org. I also want to let you know that today's session is going to be audio and video recorded, and it will be available up to 30 days to watch or listen to. We would love to encourage you to keep your cameras on. We're hoping this can be a very interactive session, and we would love to see your beautiful faces throughout. If you do have questions, please put them in the chat so that both Catalina and I can see them. And if you could please frame your questions in a more general manner. This isn't necessarily a place for personal advice or consultation, but rather a place to have a more general conversation together. So, and if you could please limit yourself to just one question, that will encourage more people to participate. With that, I would love to introduce Catalina Lawsin, psychologist and sex therapist in private practice, and speaker for today's session entitled Looking in the Mirror, Exploring Body Image and Confidence. Welcome, Catalina.
Thank you, Kira. Hello, ladies. Good morning, depending on where you are. I'm super honored to be here with you. The summit this weekend looks like it's jam-packed. So I am, as Kira mentioned, I have slides, so I am going to be talking. But if you feel comfortable to put your cameras on, but also stop me, shut me up. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions too. I want this to be as interactive as possible. Okay. Because again, this is our space and it's what we bring to it. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen if that's okay with you guys. Let's see. Okay. All right. And I want to make sure I can see everybody. So I'm just going to fix that part too. Okay. I can't really see everyone, but okay. All right. So today, really, we're going to, here's my info. If you guys do have any questions and you want to reach out to me, feel free to shoot me an email or catch on one of my things. All right. Okay. So let's go. Today, I really hope you guys leave here feeling like you're understanding some of the factors of how and the interplay and the dynamics around how cancer and its treatment impact body image. I also hope that I'm going to present a lot about really looking at body image from a biopsychosocial perspective. And I'm going to talk about what we know already as far as what can help address body image. And then hopefully I'm going to teach you a couple strategies that, again, the idea here is for it to be informational, but experiential, hopefully as well. And then at the end of the day, I really do hope all of you feel empowered to really integrate some of these strategies in your day-to-day to improve your quality of life. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Sorry. Okay, so when you guys think of body image, what comes up? How do you guys define body image? You can put it in the chat if you want, as far as what comes up. And if you don't say anything, I'll keep talking. That's totally okay. How you feel about yourself, how I view my body. Okay. All right. And I love the part, how you see yourself right now. I feel negative about my body, how you perceive yourself, my picture of my body in my mind. Okay. You read my mind, as well as that is actually the mind part, and perception is the biggest aspect about body image. I want you guys to leave here with is that very much body image. One thing we know about it, which is ironic that body is in it, but in the name, but it actually has very little to do with how our body physically is. Okay. And I say that because when we talk about factors, there's so many things about how our brain actually perceives our body, that oftentimes when we talk about poor body image, it's about this disconnect that we're having, or the dissonance we're experiencing with our body. So when we think about body image, the general consensus around definitions is how our mind perceives our body and ourselves relative to others, how our body and how we see ourselves plays into our identity, how what we perceive is beautiful, how we actually also try to embody others, as well as how we emote and externalize our emotions. Okay. One of the things that throughout my talk today, I really want to get across also is how much, again, this is normed within the sociocultural framework in which you're living in. Okay. And so today, what I really want to start off with is asking you guys, how has your body image changed after breast cancer? Does anyone want to share anything of their own personal experiences? You can put your mic on if you want. I feel disconnected from my body. Before, you felt sexy. I feel less feminine. I feel mildly deformed and freakish. Deformed, okay. I hate the weight gain. I'm struggling. I feel old, particularly for younger cancer survivors. Weight gain, everything is a change. I'm not attracted to myself. Damaged. I feel like I have no control. I feel like SpongeBob. My chest is a hot mess. Weight scars. I'm angry. I hated myself before. Feel weak. Even on good feeling days, I hate the way I look. I look in the mirror and don't recognize it. Gain some weight. Feel ashamed. Oh, ladies, a lot of the words that you guys shared, don't recognize the person in the mirror. One, thank you. Thank you for sharing your experiences into this space. None of this seems, I feel a bit unsafe, and this unsafety, damaged, never the same, weak. And weight gain, definitely, I want us to leave some space with. Losing your hair and weight gain was really hard to get over. There will always be a before and after. And that's actually a big component, is so much of when we're thinking about body image, is because it's so much a cognitive experience. What our brain tries to do automatically is try to understand it by using comparisons. And this is where, when you think about how our brains work, our brain is mostly either looking in the past or worrying about the future. So looking in the past of looking betrayed, like feeling betrayed, and looking at particularly older pictures. Do some of you guys get triggered when you look at pictures of yourself before cancer? And then thinking things will return to normal after everything is done, and then having to deal with changes. Absolutely. And then this is where also it's, am I gonna feel different? I mean, am I ever going to feel the same? You know, I'm not sure if, I feel like COVID kind of hijacked this term new normal. And because, you know, up until COVID, that was very much a cancer term. But when we're talking about body image, that's often what comes back is really, you have, one person said, I have one pic I look at that I was before I knew, and that's my last before. Yeah, I feel like I have to put in so much effort just to look somewhat normal. Yeah, a lot of these things, so much of it, what I'm hearing is a lot of struggle. And I'm also hearing a sense of work, feeling like it's work to have to actually look at yourself in the mirror and to actually kind of make sense of this, and and then actually maybe not feel so weak when you're having those shitty days, you know? And as if cancer treatment wasn't a pain in the ass enough, that afterwards, the one thing that we know is that it actually is so much of the work after, that that's why so much, like even this coalition, so much effort has been focused on after and survivorship, because during it, one thing we know is that you're kind of in the throes of it, but you also have a ton, like infusion nurses just happen to be ridiculously nice. So a little background about me: I worked in cancer for the last 2 decades, and so in cancer centers, somehow these nurses are just all freaking nice, and so you have people asking you constantly, you have a lot of support. But then in survivorship, one, you don't want to go back to the hospital, but then you also don't have that support. But then I don't know about you guys, but does anybody actually even ask as much? And does it seem like people are actually thinking that there might be any concerns for you, because you look fine for people, you're done with treatment, right? And that's one of the hardest things, particularly with body image, is because it's in our brain and it is disconnected. The one thing we know after breast cancer is absolutely when there are more physical impairments, we do typically see increases or more heightened, worsening body image. But again, that's a trend, but it doesn't mean that body image is only impacted by physicality. So there can be a big disconnect between how we relate to others, because I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people just kind of don't see it. And anybody who really cares about you is going to think you're gorgeous. Because well, one, you are. And then I don't know about you guys, but particularly for breast cancer patients, everyone's like this toxic positivity of people of you're a survivor and oh, you feel so good, that it's like you don't actually even feel like you can talk about something like body image. It seems shallow. Like, oh, you should be grateful enough. Yet, how can you not? Yeah, so like absolutely. Everyone's just thinking, oh, you're fine, you're fine. Absolutely. And again, so you're experiencing this dissonance between what you're hearing, and also probably even when you watch breast cancer things or you're hearing people on podcasts, also probably how maybe they're emoting or externalizing. And it can be quite intimidating, because again, our brains naturally compare us. They compare us to how we were, but also us to others. So that relativity absolutely can hit us. Okay, tingles in your arms for sure. Oh yeah, the well, at least you're alive. I hate that. I hate that. You know, I do hate that. So one of the things that generally the way body image has been perceived is to look at it, particularly after breast cancer, is to look at it within 3 domains: affective, how we actually feel, whether we're feeling feminine, feeling attractive; behavioral, as far as one of the things that will happen is people will avoid relationships or avoid social outings, as well as cognitive. And again, this is where those comparisons are happening. But what's another one that's not in these 3 domains that you guys think, oh, you hate that one? Yeah. What do you think that isn't within the affective, behavioral, or cognitive domains? What's another way for you guys? For you, what have you felt is another domain that really has shifted? I love watching you ladies look pensive. Sexuality, confidence, dating, absolutely. So my specialty is in sex and relationships, and most of my research in psycho-oncology has been looking at sexuality. So absolutely, connection. Because the way I view sexuality is how we connect to our bodies and how we choose to connect with others. And that's the thing. You can't actually talk about body image without talking about how we're connecting and how we're actually connecting with ourselves and then with others. And that's where sexuality absolutely comes to play, and our interpersonal relationships. And again, just by a show of hands, or even put your, oh, well, don't put your little handy up, but did most people here go through chemo? Right? Most of you. Okay. And chemo is this weird thing where it goes through your whole body. It's the most toxic thing on earth that we can do to ourselves. And yet it's so, I've seen so many patients have, until you actually feel something, whether it be the tingling or unfortunately, basically some of the shitty side effects. It's almost this ominous process of what actually chemo is doing to kill the cancer, you know? But essentially, cancer treatment is going inside and breaking down so much of you so that you build yourself up. We just hope your cell counts stay at a healthy level, right? It's kind of fucked up when you think about cancer treatment. And again, but that in and of itself, it just goes in through a port, and the actual process, our brains aren't really set up to change at the pace or go at the pace and adapt our connection to our bodies and others at the pace at which we actually go through treatment. So that can be super this very odd disconnect. Okay. So when we're thinking about connection, absolutely sexuality comes in. And when we're thinking about body image, all of these things play into how we connect with ourselves and how we connect with others. Again, social norms, our values, personalities, all of that. Like when I think of sexuality and body image, I see these as the same. I see them very much as all of this is together. Okay. So absolutely. Okay. All right. Oh, F. Jahara. Yes. Okay. I will unraise her hand. Thank you. I don't know how to unraise her hand. Oh, lower hand. There it is. I just figured it out. Okay. All right. So some of the sexual concerns, again, one thing just to kind of, I know you guys, hopefully you attended the talk last night, the workshop last night, that again, estimates suggest that between 40 and 100% of cancer survivors are going to experience some type of sexual change. And again, the reality is that when we talk about sexuality and how we connect to our body, it is entirely, it's complex and it's dynamic. Okay, so it's going to change depending on where you are in your treatment, but also where you are physically, psychologically, and how those interact. So again, an example of this is if you're experiencing any type of pain or loss of sensation, that can actually, those symptoms can be cues to experience anxiety. The more anxiety, what do we know happens with anxiety? Everything clenches, and so pain can happen more. And so absolutely, unfortunately, also, I'm not sure how many women here experienced early menopause, which is freaking awesome. I know, right? So we're going to talk about that too. And the one thing that we know about sexual changes is that these are some of the longest lingering side effects that generally actually goes undiscussed after cancer. Again, because generally when you talk about sex, people literally only think you're talking about intercourse. They don't think about what actual sexuality is. And so again, just like when you talk about body image, it seems shallow. In the context of cancer, how could you care about sex? And then I think, well, again, because I perceive sex as how we connect to our bodies and ourselves, I always remind survivors, I'm like, shit, you went through cancer to live. And our connection to ourselves and others is the primary reason for life. So absolutely, we should be talking about this. So really it's all about changing those conversations. But one of the good things that we know is that sexual changes and how we connect to our bodies can be improved. And again, I'm actually should catch myself. I shouldn't say improved, can evolve. Okay. It can be what you are wanting it to be. Okay. It's not easy, but let's just be honest, ladies. None of this shit has been easy already. That's my thing. I'm like, if you already feel like shit, then how much shittier can it be? And obviously we know how much shittier things can be. Okay. All right. I'm just going to briefly say that yes, partners can be affected as well. I'm mindful of our time. So one of the biggest things that we know affects body image. And so again, if hopefully some of this stuff resonates with you, absolutely impacts of early menopause, vaginal dryness. I don't know if you guys heard the awful term vaginal atrophy, but vaginal dryness, shrinking, and Lord knows I've had patients who can't even walk, pain while urinating, frequent UTIs, hot flashes, and absolutely someone talked about fertility concerns, and certainly surgical removal of the body. And again, Kira, I know you've talked to so much of your mission has been to support women in this. And so all of the very real physical changes absolutely are going to impact body image. And so, but then again, this is a dynamic. So then of course, stress, fear of cancer recurrence. We know that fear and uncertainty is the #1 cancer survivorship concern. So if you have, and that we also, anything can cue that, anything can trigger it, a weird tingling, seeing an ad, seeing a pink ribbon, again, breast cancer in particular very much put a lot of pressure on women to be these warriors. So I acknowledge that if you're not feeling so warriorish and you're feeling like shit, know that there's millions of other women around the world feeling just like that, probably right at the same time. But certainly this is where distress goes in and gets in that as well. All right. Okay. But we do know that there are strategies that can help. Okay. There needs to be so much more. Body image in psycho-oncology research is generally put in to intervention studies. There's been a few where that was the main outcome, but again, body image is so encompassed in so many different things. It's encompassed in our distress, it's encompassed in our relationships, that generally when you're looking at the research, it actually is, it's generally a secondary outcome. But the one thing that we do know is that the key in survivorship of how we manage our body image and begin to actually see ourselves and connect with our bodies the way in a healthy way is integration. Integration is the key. Again, integrating your past is absolutely part of you. Your past brought you where you are here. And so it's integrating your cancer experience within this. And again, nothing I'm saying here do I ever want to give off is easy. It absolutely is a process. Certainly, cognitive behavioral techniques work. Starting off with exploring your narrative, looking at how your story has shifted. And then really, and I'm going to teach you a quick way to actually begin to neutralize, not spin positive, not like everyone's saying, oh, just be grateful. Oh, you have so much to live for now. All this bullshit. And it's not bullshit. It's true, but it doesn't really feel great. And then my approach, and there's been much more emphasis, is on somatic therapies. And this very much is getting individuals to focus on their sensations, being present within their body, and using that to actually move through distress, move through tough emotions. Because the #1 thing that you need to appreciate is that cancer treatment is super long. Immediately during it and between the actual cancer itself, the distress associated with it, your body is under attack. And when our body's under attack, our nervous system is immediately going to get aroused and immediately either go into fight, flight, freeze mode. But it doesn't take very long where that just becomes the norm. And particularly if you entered your cancer journey with any type of distress, know that that's just how your brain has been functioning. And so inherent in that, when we are hyper aroused, we are disconnected. We're disconnected from our body. So the thing with cognitive behavioral therapy is that it does very much focus on your thoughts and then your behaviors. But when your body's on autopilot, you don't have access to those thoughts. Everything's retrospective. So the first thing you need to do is ground and regulate and connect to your body. This is where somatic therapy, mindfulness, meditation, all of those things come into play, because first you need to be grounded, then you can access the cognitions. Okay. And so that's what's really key. And then you can begin to explore your narrative, change your story, all of those things. Certainly, sex therapy is definitely, this comes up a lot. And oftentimes when people find out like I focus on sex therapy, they think it's all like, oh, Kiki. It's actually quite sad. It's actually quite sad how many individuals feel alone when they are, no matter if they're single or if they're in relationships. But absolutely, body image is talked about a lot. There has been some studies showing the benefit of exercise. And again, this is very much how we connect to our bodies. I know we have a hard stop soon, so I'm going to leave. I want to talk about a couple things, but as we're doing this, yes, absolutely. There are lots of therapists who work with oncology patients. I'm going to start looking at you guys' questions, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at that, but I really want to actually make sure you know that there are grounding techniques for you to reconnect to your body. Okay. And this is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. So where 5, and just do what I say and say it out loud to yourselves. 5, what do you see? My hand. 4, what do you hear? Okay. 3, what are you touching? 2, what are you smelling? And 1, what do you taste? Did everybody do that? I'm watching your faces. I can't tell. Okay, there. See, now some people are smiling. This is actually one of the most effective grounding techniques, and maybe you've heard it before in different variations, but what it's going to do is it's going to bring you, connect you to all of your senses, ground you, keep you into the present. Okay. Certainly breathing absolutely brings you back to your body. And again, this is cognitive challenging and really where we begin to neutralize negative thoughts, not try to depower them. And then really thinking about what your relationships are and leaning in, whether that be your intimate partner or your friends, leaning into those relationships. And the more you can trust yourself, the more you're going to find yourself trusting others and using the reciprocity in that relationship to navigate and explore. The whole idea when we talk about body image is that there's all these things that start to get challenged. And the number one thing I encourage is to get curious. Okay. That's best when dealing with this. Again, so this question is there a certain thing? I'm actually going to just keep on looking at people's questions, and I'm just going to leave you with these things at the end. And again, I think you guys can get these slides, but yes, again, I recommend really very much a somatic approach first to doing this. And again, there are psychologists who specialize in psycho-oncology. Look at how they've been trained, where they've been trained, what their experience is. If you guys, I want you guys to go to these other sessions. And so I know that this felt rushed. But shoot me an email if you have questions or if you want me to help you find a therapist. I certainly know a lot of psycho-oncologists around and happy to refer you to. I work in California, Illinois, in New York, but you can go to my website. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and you can ask me any questions, okay? I know that this was super, super quick, but ladies, I have the number one thing I hope you leave here with is very much an understanding of how common these changes are, what a pain in the ass it is, and how most people will have never, I will never understand your individual journey. So when you're feeling alone, know that you're in the space right now, and whatever that feeling is that you're of disconnect, know that if you wait in that space, the feeling will change. And the more conscious you are of that space, the heightened the connection will be. And when you have more and more moments of that, then again, this is where you begin to actually have some access to those thoughts, to that shame. And the deeper and deeper you get to that, the more control you will have over your experience. Okay. It's not easy. It's a long path, but it is absolutely possible. So if you guys have any other questions after that, please feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Because I do want you guys to get to your other. Oh, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed this. Literally, guys, know you are not alone. Thank you so much for showing up today for yourselves, being here for each other, and very much supporting each other. This is a great community. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your session, because I know that I feel like they're gonna hard stop me. Yeah. So have a great day, everybody. Bye. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catalina. That was wow. All I can say is that was incredible. I think I can speak for all of us here. We just feel like you get it. You are so supportive and empathetic. And so thank you so much for such an informative, interesting, and thoughtful session.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so wonderful. I feel like we could have talked for hours on this
I
subject. So for all of you attendees, just a couple little bits before you head off. Here is the website to the summit, just in case you want to kind of jump there and figure out where you want to go next. An announcement that YSC is hosting a half-day virtual metastatic retreat on June 4th. And if you want further information on that, you can email Jean Rowe at jrowe, that's J, here, I'll just put this in the chat too, her email address. If you want more information, that's again, June 4th. There's her info. And then we are going to be conducting evaluations online, just to get some feedback on the session and the summit. So if you participate, you'll be entered into a drawing to win $50 of YSC merchandise credit. So please participate if you can. And that's pretty much it. I just want to thank you so much for attending today's summit. We're so grateful to Dr. Catalina for all of your insights and information. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Happy
Thank you so
Saturday,
much.
ladies.